Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Millennium Pod, a Star Wars podcast by me, Ari, at ari.in.space on TikTok and at millenniumpod_ on Twitter and Instagram. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Millennium Pod. I guess it hasn't been so long for any of y'all listening, but for me recording, it's been a while because it's been 2 weeks since the last episode, and that last episode, the Rey episode, was actually recorded like a long time ago, like 6 weeks ago at least. And so I haven't recorded since episode like 20 or something. But anyway, that doesn't even matter. I'm just very excited to be recording again. I just started school. I started a new program. I'm doing an education degree now to add on to my physics and chem degree that I sort of already have. And I'm very excited about that. But it is a lot of work, as it turns out. It's a lot of reading. But that's okay, because much like some of my favorite Jedi Masters, I'm excited to be a teacher, and I'm excited to be starting this program. But that does mean that I haven't had as much time as I want to be doing this, but that's okay too. It was really nice this week. So this is another Rebels breakdown episode. Finally getting back into that, starting with season 2 here. And it was really nice this week because I was able to, because I knew I wanted to get this episode out this week, I really was like, okay, Ari, you're going to sit down and you're going to watch an episode of Rebels, and it's going to be a nice break for you from your schoolwork. And it was really nice. So I am excited now that I've kind of gotten back into the school routine to kind of hopefully have a bit more of a less sporadic posting schedule. Obviously no promises, because you never know what can happen with life and the world, but I am happy to be doing this. And there will be an announcement on my social media probably this weekend about some upcoming new stuff I'm planning to do with the pod as well, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, I think that's enough preamble from me. I just really felt like I needed to get my thoughts and feelings out there, so thanks for listening to that. But yeah, as I said, this is another Rebels breakdown episode, and this week I'm talking about season 2, episodes 1 through 5. And these were great. I mean, I think actually, as I've said, every time I've done one of these, I watched a few episodes, maybe 20 in total, throughout the season, just to kind of get the general idea of what was happening in Rebels. And now I'm going back and I'm watching every single episode. And I think I'd only seen 2 out of these 5 episodes. So this was fun for me because it was all pretty new. And speaking of new episodes for me, at least, season 2, episodes 1 and 2, the Siege of Lothal, those were new for me. I don't know why I didn't watch them the first time, because they kind of seemed important, but whatever. I watched them now, and yeah, 12 out of 10, love them. I have written in my notes that I'm looking at right now, under episode 1, the episode where Kanan went crazy, LOL. Which actually is quite true. Kanan was acting a little bit wild, which of course was because, he wasn't feeling necessary. I don't think it wasn't that he wasn't feeling good about joining up with the other rebel cells, but he was feeling conflicted about it, I guess. And he was acting out kind of like a child. The one thought that comes to mind specifically that just cracked me up was, I actually watched this episode twice and it cracked me up both times. When they're trying to go save what's her name, Minister Tua from the Empire, and the way he attacks this stormtrooper to steal his armor, it's hard to describe. You just gotta watch it. I mean, I hope if you're listening to this, you kind of have some idea at least of what is happening in Rebels season 2, episodes 1 through 5. Otherwise, I might suggest going to watch them, because I'm going forward assuming you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, the way he attacks the stormtrooper to steal his armor is just really comical. But again, we do know, and we learn from this episode and the next one, that Kanan is acting like a weirdo. Because, yeah, he is conflicted about joining up with the other rebel cells, because he now feels like this is a war. It's no longer just, kind of like we're Robin Hood vigilante type people who have no affiliation with anyone. Like it's a war now. They've picked a side, and as Hera says, and I believe it is season 2 episode 1, like this is bigger than us now. And I think eventually we're starting to see through these first few episodes of this season, Kanan is coming around to that, but it is hard for him, and I don't blame him. I mean, he literally says, like, he already fought in one war, the Clone War, and that was a long time ago, but we can see how much it's affecting him. And I actually looked it up, like how old he was when Order 66 happened, and he was like pretty young, like sometime 12, 13, 14, something like that. Y'all listening probably actually know the real age, but again, that's very young, and that's a formative time in someone's life. And so it's interesting to see like how that is still affecting him so much throughout his adult life. But I do also think it's interesting to see how much, because we see like Ezra is influenced by Kanan, of course, because Kanan is his master and he's learning from him. But again, I've talked about this before, it's so interesting to see how much Ezra is influencing Kanan and how much of an effect he has on him. Because, Ezra's saying like, we gotta do this, we gotta join, it's important, we gotta go after what we're fighting for, like the bigger picture. And Kanan's like, well, I don't want to, but you can tell, he has that respect for Ezra, and he's listening to him, which I think is quite nice. But yeah, these episodes were definitely, especially like the first 4, Siege of the Fall, and then when they go to, in episodes 3 and 4, when they go to find Rex and Gregor and Wolf, they were a lot for Kanan. And you can tell that emotional turmoil, because again, he's acting out, and he's kind of being mean to everybody. And my sister actually was watching these episodes with me, and she was like, why do you like that guy so much? He's being so rude and so mean. And I was like, yeah, he is right now. But I mean, we have to understand and kind of have sympathy, I don't know English. I think it's empathy for him, and to understand, that place where he's coming from, and why he's acting the way that he is. The other thing too that I think we need to understand is a lot of Kanan's reservations about going back to war come from a place of fear, of course. And I mean, he lost a lot during the Clone Wars. Especially, like, I mean, you consider he literally watched Depa like die in front of him. So I'm not shocked that he is upset, and we can just see like that he fears not for himself, like, at all, for the people he cares about. Like in episode 2, when they're running around doing whatever they're doing on Lothal. At one point, Ezra says, "I'm not afraid," and Kanan replies, "That's what I'm afraid of." And it just really shows how deeply he cares for not only Ezra, but the whole Ghost crew. And yeah, I don't know. I think I as I said earlier, I am in an education program now. I'm very excited to be a teacher. And so I really resonate, I guess, I could say, with Kanan's feelings of caring for his student. And I mean, I don't have students yet, but I will one day, and I anticipate I will also care about them a lot. And one thing we're really trying to move towards, at least, and talk about in my education program specifically, is kind of moving away from the teachers being just that like strict authoritative figure at the front of the classroom, and really making learning and education kind of like a team thing in a way, where teachers are working with students and they're guiding them rather than lecturing them. And so I kind of think that's kind of Kanan's teaching style in a way, to an extent. And so I really like that a lot. Trust me when I tell you, if there is ever a chance where I can somehow work Kanan Jarrus and his teaching style into an essay for my program, I will do it 100%. But that being said, again, with this mentality of teachers needing to be more like working with students instead of lecturing them and just being that, like I said, authority figure that students can't relate to, I think that seeing in Star Wars, specifically in these episodes, seeing Kanan and Ezra work together as student and teacher, and learning from each other, because teachers do learn from their students. That's a really important thing that we need to remember. Seeing them work together throughout these episodes and throughout episodes through season 1, it makes me so happy, and it fills my future teacher heart with so much hope. I love it so much. I think that may be one of the reasons why I'm really just enjoying this show so much, is because I really think it's just showing such an interesting dynamic, student-teacher dynamic, that I personally I can learn a lot from, and hopefully apply to like my teaching in the future. As we move into episodes 3 and 4, I think we get to see a really great example of just the geniusness, I don't even know if that's a word, but of the writers for this show and whoever's creating it, Dave Filoni and friends, because episodes 3 and 4 are like pretty fun. You know, we get to see Rex again, Gregor and Wolf, and we're hunting Jupa, and it's a fun episode. But under the surface of this fun episodes, I guess 3 and 4, we get to see again that deeper, I guess, theme of, you know, fear of war and fear of trusting people, and trauma, I guess, from betrayal that Kanan is feeling with regards to the clones. And I really appreciate and enjoy that we get to deal with the trauma from Order 66 and the betrayal from another perspective, from another Jedi who survived. I think it's important because, as I've said many times on this podcast, Order 66 is such a pivotal and important moment in the Star Wars canon timeline, and I think it's important that it keeps being addressed and that we're seeing how it has been affecting the survivors for so long. Because, as I said, I mean, it's been a long time. It's been like 15 years or so since Order 66, and it's still, that wound is still very real. And not only just for the Jedi. Like, I mean, we see in these episodes Kanan being, again, moody and pissed off and angry and wary of the clones because he feels like he was betrayed. But we also see the scars that were left on the clones. I mean, you can see in Rex's, and hear in Rex's voice, and see it in his actions when he's talking about how, like, it's true, there were chips in their head, and he took their chips out because they all have a choice. You can feel his pain and his sadness for both his lost Jedi friends and his lost brothers. Like, I mean, it's been said before, but like, what is a Dave Filoni show if not Order 66 persevering? And it's so true, and it pains me every time, but I do think it's so important, because Star Wars, as much as it's about hope and finding the light, it's also the story about war and betrayal and then finding hope in that. And I really appreciate how we get to see, you know, Kanan sort of coming around to the clones. That's hope in and of itself there. He's reconciling his distrust, and he's kind of moving away from his just immense hatred of the clones. And I think that's so promising, because you know what? He doesn't need to do that. I mean, I don't know if I could do that if I was in that situation. But as I said, like, that is hope, and the hope that we continue to see through Star Wars is that even, you know, amidst betrayal and dark times, we can find a light, and we can find ways to move forward. I really like when they go back to the Rebel base and Kanan says, like, it wasn't easy in respect to, you know, talking with Rex, talking with the clones, and being around them and trusting them and working with them. And Ahsoka replies, you know, nothing worth doing ever is. And that's so true. That's so true. Like, it's just, I love Star Wars because there's just so much good stuff in it. And through the pain it brings, we can learn so many great life lessons. Like, oh man. Okay, now, I don't have much for deep thoughts about episode 5, I don't think, but who knows once I start talking. However, I was happy that the new Inquisitors are not as scary as the Grand Inquisitor. I don't hate seeing them on my screen. In fact, I think they're quite interesting. I'm excited to see how they pop up again because, once again, I have no memory of them ever, so I must not have seen any other episodes that they were in. And so this is new for me, and I'm excited. The one thing I really did like about this episode 5, was it was kind of like Zeb's time to shine. And a lot of the show, I mean, fairly so, it was about Kanan and Ezra. And as I literally just said, I love that. I'm so appreciating their relationship. But I do like when we get to see, some of the other Ghost crew really featured. And I feel like this episode, we got to see Zeb featured. And we just got to see him, basically saving the day. Actually, not basically, he 100% did save the day. He saved them from Sabine and Ezra from the Inquisitors. But yeah, it was nice to see him, be able to take initiative and be a leader in this situation, because obviously he can be a leader. So hopefully we get to see him doing that some more. I know in some of the other episodes I've actually seen he does do that. So I'm excited for more Zeb content because I think he's hilarious and awesome, and also just such a wholesome character. When he's like, I'm not leaving here without those kids. Like, he really is the uncle of the Ghost crew, I think. Even though Kanan and Hera are Sabine and Ezra's parents, they're also Zeb's parents, but Zeb is also the uncle, so I don't really know how that exactly works, but it doesn't matter. It's Star Wars, found family can be whatever. But yeah, like I said, I guess I don't have a lot of deep thoughts about episode 5, but it was kind of like a interesting episode to kind of end my little quick rewatch on, or not rewatch, but whatever, 5-episode watch for this podcast on, because it kind of left me like, okay, I want to keep watching this, and so I will, just with, they get back to the Ghost, and they're like, how come you didn't tell us there was more Inquisitors? And Kanan's like, I didn't know. And they're like, okay, we gotta go tell Ahsoka, and that's how it ends. It's very dramatic. So I'm excited to watch the next episode because it feels like things are getting more serious, Progressively, they have been getting more and more serious, and I know they're just gonna keep getting more serious. With that, more pain will come to me, likely. I know it does for sure in season 4, episode 10, because I have seen that. But with pain comes hope in Star Wars, as I've said before, many, many times. But that's, I think, all I wanted to say about these episodes. I'm just quickly looking at my notes. Oh, I did highlight one quote that I really liked about... It was in episode 1, I believe, and it's when they're leaving Lothal. And I mean, that in and of itself is upsetting. I feel like, Ezra finally leaving behind his home, he can kind of move forward more. This isn't the quote, this is me going off on a tangent that I just thought of. He's, this whole time, I think that being on Lothal and being near where his parents disappeared and where he's been his whole life has been kind of holding him back a little bit. And so I'm excited to see how he moves forward in his Jedi training without that attachment to a place that he's physically on. The quote I wanted to mention was at the end of episode 1, I believe, maybe it's episode 2, whatever, when Kanan says, the greater courage is knowing when not to fight. And I think that's really, really lovely, and also just very important, because it's honestly, it's easy to fight. It's easy to get angry, and it's easy to fight. But yeah, it's hard to not fight and to choose, to find other options, or to choose to live to fight another day. And so I think that's really nice. And I think that the greater courage is knowing when not to fight can be applied to all kinds of different situations. So thank you once again, Kanan and Star Wars, for just giving me another great quote to add and to pull out, in random settings, and then people will think I'm wise. But anyway, that is all. I hope if you are still here that you enjoyed listening to me just blab on about this show. these Rebels episodes really have no format, no structure. It's kind of just me watching. While I watch the episodes, I write some things down, and then I just kind of just start talking as if I'm just having a conversation with you guys. So thank you for listening. It means so much to me. Thank you for the support. Also, sometime since the Ray episode 2 weeks ago, I reached over 100 subscribers across YouTube and Spotify. I think there's a few more on Apple as well, but for some reason I can't access my Apple Analytics, but I don't really care because you know what? I thought there was going to be like 5 people max listening to me and subscribing. So the fact that at least 100 people have listened to me at least once and thought, that was good enough that I will hit the subscribe button is just my heart. Wow. So thank you so much if you are one of those people. I truly so appreciate it. But anyway, that's enough for me. That's enough rambling. As I said, stay tuned. Check my social media sometime in the next few days. The date today is September 16th. I think. So yeah, sometime in the next few days, there will be a slight announcement. I'm very excited about, so yes, stay tuned. And as always, please feel free to reach out to me on social media. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a great day, night, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are listening. And as always, of course, may the force be with you.